DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
It's time for Tuesday Night Live Chat with Brian S. Red and John Young. Good evening and welcome to the final Tuesday night, Brian and John, for 2018.
Next Tuesday is Christmas, right?
It is. It's Christmas, and we're going to be doing incredible things. And then after that, it's like the New Year's, the first day of 2000, the
New Year's
Day. And so we're not going to be doing anything. And the next time you guys will see us actually is going to be on the 8th. 8th. Whatever.
Yeah, all right.
January. So tonight we're going to take questions from you guys. We're going to go through and bounce through a lot of different topics. And once we get bored answering questions, then we're going to rant about whatever we feel like, pretty much. Is the way this show is going to be. So pretty much a typical Tuesday night.
Tuesday night, yeah. No direction.
Sloppy, no direction. But at the end of it, you'll either feel completely fulfilled or you'll be completely confused. Either one, and we're good with either method.
Whatever works for you. Whatever.
So Blake actually started this off. He had a question. I wasn't going to actually jump into questions that quickly because I figured it would take a little bit of time. But Blake, you are going to get the gold star for tonight for being the first one with the question. Blake was asking about a microphone, a wired microphone that you're using in some of your videos, and I think it's a Sennheiser. It must be some of you have a really cool looking wired mic in some of your videos. I think it's a Sennheiser. What is it? They look amazing and probably sound great too.
You're talking about the old, was it MD 31, I think is the model. It's the same microphone that Prince used. It's like a vintage 1983 Sennheiser.
MD 31, you said?
I think it's an MD 31. I think that's the model number on it. Yeah, it's. I can grab it real quick. Give me just a second. I'll show it to you. Give me just a moment.
Yep.
Let's go back in the.
Oh, I think. Yep, I know what I know what you're referring to here. The microphone. Yeah, he'll grab that. So while he's grabbing that, we're going to be running regular shows tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We're going to have our regular Wednesday night. Thursday we'll have a spot, and then of course next week is kind of our Christmas week. So we're not going to be doing Monday or Tuesday shows, and then Wednesday we're going to be doing our drawing for our gift certificate we're giving away for the people who are doing those tips videos that you've been seeing drop on our channels the last couple of days. And we're going to be doing them every day between now and the end of the year. But I'm going to, on next Wednesday, list every video we're going to be dropping and have already dropped. And then we're going to do that drawing live on the 26th on Wednesday night. So, okay, do you got it there, Brian?
Yeah, here's an old guy tip. If you cannot see things, if you cannot read it, because I can't read what this model number is, take your phone, take a picture of it, and zoom that picture in.
Zoom in, yep.
All right, so I don't have reading glasses handy. Let's get a little more light on this situation here.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident the model number is MD31 on this. And yeah, it's just a mic I always wanted. And I bought it for myself for Christmas a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Came out of Germany. And I wouldn't mind having another one. And I still can't see it. But yeah, it's this guy right here, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're talking about.
Yep, that's that unique look.
Yeah, if you look back at even the movie Purple Rain, everyone's using this.
Mm-hmm.
Stevie Nicks used it. Oh man, I think Bowie used it at one time. I think Freddie Mercury used it. This was just the vocal mic for a minute, and it does have kind of a unique sound. I had one in a band for a while. I used one in a band back in the olden days.
Sure.
And kind of a cool treat. And it does have a dent in the windscreen. It came like that. A little dent in it right there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But who cares? Still works great. I haven't brought it on the road for a while. I had it on the road, though, for a long time. And it just made me feel like a rock star, having this microphone. And most people had no idea what it was. It just made me feel cool that I was doing announcements, through this cool historic mic. So that's the one. MD431. There you go. Kimmy.
Oh yes. Yep. There we go. Oh, that popped it up. Yep.
MD431.
431.2 from Sweetwater is $450. I don't know if that's that seems to be.
That's the new version of it, I believe.
Yeah, and then it must be the old version.
Really is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But Prince had this, the gun mic was based off of this too. If you remember the gun mic he had,
It's been a
the
while.
gold, it was like a gun microphone when he was doing Get Off. He had this gun mic. He looked like a gun. He had Sennheiser custom build that for him. But yeah, that's the one. I also have the wireless version, which is completely illegal to use because of the band it's on. But I have it.
Excellent. Let's see. Chris asked what happened to the 12 Days of Christmas because we're not doing the 12 Days of Christmas. This year, instead of doing the 12 Days of Christmas, we are doing the DJ Tips videos. There's two reasons for this. One of which, let me explain what the DJ Tips video contest is. DJs have been submitting, going out to DJNTV.com/upload and uploading a tips video between 60 seconds and 3 minutes. Every video that is uploaded is entered into a drawing for a $500 gift certificate at NLFX Pro up in Bemidji, Ben Stow's company. So if your video is, by the luck of the draw, the random number drawing chosen, then you're going to win a $500 card, a gift certificate. Now, the reason we did this is twofold. One is I knew in the beginning of December I wasn't going to be able to do as many shows as I did when I do the 12 Days of Christmas. You've got to do the 12 days of shows. And I just don't have that kind of time to do that anymore because it takes completely away from my family in the prep side of it. And then once we get done, then there's the chasing down to make sure I get the information from the winner, then get that winner information to the vendors, and then the vendors to make sure they get the things out and the sponsors and all these different things. And it becomes a huge hassle. Secondly is, and I've talked about this in other shows, is that the industry has tightened up. The manufacturers have really tightened up their money when it comes to supporting the DJ industry. And it's not just us; it's that's why the magazines are going away. That's why as you're hearing these things, they're cutting back on different things within the industry. So this is part of it. You don't have as many saying, "Oh yes, I would love to donate." Some of our regulars would sponsor whatever, but not enough to quite cover all 12 days and make it really worth the excitement and worth the while of doing it. So that's why we stepped away from it. We went to this contest, and it should be kind of a fun little thing at the end of it. I think actually what's going to end up happening is we're going to have to do the December version, and we're probably going to do a January version because I've got people who are seeing it and they're like, "Hey, this is pretty cool. I don't have time to get a video together." It's like, cool. We're going to do one in January, and in January we're into some 2019 budgets, and I have some different prizes lined up for January. So there we are.
There you have it.
Okay, that's the official word. Da-da-da. Oh, Chris, not smart enough for tips, dude. We're gonna go and we're gonna shoot a video next week. Chris and I, Chris, True North DJ, we're gonna shoot a video. He has gone through and he has put together this main topic and all these little subtopics of supporting information to cover. And he and I are going to go and do this video shoot next week. And you guys are going to be amazed at how well he has laid this out and his thought process. And it's going to be something that it's going to be an easy a series of videos to watch as our new 2019 changes come about. This is one of them. And he did such a great job of putting this together. It's like, Chris, we're going to do this as one of those drops, one of our series drops. And so you're going to get to see this early 2019, but that'll be a recording. So don't let him give you a line of guff. This guy knows what he's talking about. He really does. Good. Scott's got another video in there. Okay, just trying to see if the Facebook page is not reloading for me. So,
I'm watching the comments roll through here.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the video's not rolling through?
No, the video's going, but I just can't see. What ends up happening sometimes.
No one's asking any questions.
Either no one in Facebook is asking questions, or it's not showing up
on Facebook, on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm not on Facebook. I have no idea what's going on.
Facebook is the one I want to get to. So that way, if somebody out there, so I can see it from my phone. I can't see it on the computer because sometimes it doesn't. No pressure at all, Chris. You're welcome. Yeah. So Brian, this is one of the questions I wanted to talk about. Is I want a couple of lessons that we're taking away from 2018, and then I want to talk about a little bit what we're looking forward to into 2019. But okay. I didn't want to just put this as it could be part of your personal DJ business. It could be some observations from the industry, a couple of observations from 2018, and then a thought of what's ahead into 2019.
Well, I guess my big takeaway has been that we're back to DIY, back to where we were when we had to piece things together that weren't particularly always built for DJs. They were not mobile DJs anyway. They were either built for club guys, for hobby guys, or band or stage. It's not like they're building custom things for us as mobile guys anymore. So, but there's still stuff out there. You just have to be creative.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to see things out there more and more that are made for professional mobile DJs. But I believe you're going to see less and less things in the budget price point, because I believe the smaller companies are really starting to do some amazing things and think about what we're doing as professionals, because the people who run these companies are also DJs, and they've ran into problems and they know what kind of products they wish they could have. So they're creating things. And that's the way forward. I think the big company days are kind of behind us.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's time for the small companies, the little boutique companies, because we are kind of a boutique industry when it really comes down to it.
I could definitely see that. I could definitely see that boutique company mentality coming through, because it's going to be much more difficult for a large, let's put it in, a large lighting company to be able to do what they do, because there's so many competitive influences coming in from so many angles that can do a similar enough thing. Not the same thing, but similar enough that they're going to pull from that. So you can definitely see that influence coming on here in 2018, which circles us back to one of the reasons why the 12 Days of Christmas didn't happen, is because some of those companies are feeling that pinch, and they're having to how do we deal with that is really coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I think what happens is, and I talked about this a little bit this week, companies will make a product and they'll say to themselves, okay, well, really, we feel like this will be great for a church, but a mobile DJ could use this, and a band could use this, and a club could use this.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got 4 different places to sell this, and the place they're going to sell the most maybe is church, and the place they're going to sell the least is probably mobiles. So we're not the big thing they're considering. We're just too small of a market segment, but there'll still be things out there for us at available at these lower prices.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see products that are specifically made for mobile DJs, because the market segment and the customer base is considerably smaller, you're not going to see them at these budget prices because they have to sell more units to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
Make sense, guys?
Oh, it certainly does.
That's what's happening. That's what's happening. And I do believe this will... Anybody who's not creative will probably not do very well from here on out. You've got to be creative. Those who are ultra budget probably aren't going to do very well. So it might actually be good for us. We might do some healthy pruning with some of these lower end DJs. They won't be able to step into this as well as people who are creative and people who do, and I hate talking money, but do, charge, I guess, a more livable wage for what they do.
Right.
And have business plans and are legit. I don't know, just some thoughts.
Let's get to a couple of questions, and then we can come back and revisit because there's a couple of thoughts from 2018 I wanted to dig into. David asked about Monogram. I was wondering about if a person wanted to offer, and I'm going to change it up a little bit. If a person wanted to offer Monogram services to your weddings, what would be the best way to go in your estimation? Getting a Gobo projector or doing like a regular projector and computer? Which one would you lean towards, Brian?
Well, right now, the most feasible is probably a data projector with one of those little sling boxes. You've seen them. I've got one, like $40 or whatever, USB. Plug them right into your computer and then have somebody like Jimmy make your monograms for you. Now, the idea that I've been pitching for years, and I actually pitched it again today, and I think somebody listened to me. A really cool, affordable way to do this would be for a lighting company, whoever they might be, if they were to make a cool little Gobo projector and include 26 A through Z monogram Gobos in that Gobo projector.
Sure. Yeah, I saw that post.
Part of the package. If you go through Roscoe, this is going to, cost quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
You could do it, but it's going to cost some money. If this company has these Gobos cut in China and just, makes 500 of them, for 500 Gobo projectors they've produced, it's going to cost a lot less. You'll be able to pick this thing up. Pretty reasonable. So that would be a really cool way to go. And then you could also pick up 2 of these if they're reasonable enough, and you could do 2 monograms.
Yeah.
You could do Beth or Steve and Beth, or alternately you could just do Smith or Williams if you just had one. That would be a cool way to go. But right now, if you really wanted to do monograms, the way to go would probably be that budget data projector and one of them sling boxes, and then again have somebody like Jimmy go ahead and put together your monograms for you. If you're not an artist, I'm not an artist, so that's not what I do. I'm a DJ. I don't even do it secondary. So
yeah.
Jimmy's really good.
Yeah,
he does a really good job with that stuff. So
he can knock stuff out pretty quickly and does a great job.
That's what I would do. Yeah.
Okay. Got a couple of people who are posting on Facebook. Thank you guys for joining us. If you have any questions, please put those in the chat. We're kind of working our way through those.
Let me expand on this monogram thing.
Go ahead. Yep. I wanted to hit it one more time.
I got my brain moving here.
Yeah. We can see.
So with the data projector, it does work, and if you're a decent artist, you could probably get by with, for a reasonable amount of cash, be able to produce these things and make some money. The limitations to a data projector, although you can do animated graphics and all kinds of neat stuff, is that it's a stationary piece. If you really wanted to wow somebody, I think the coolest way to do this really is the moving head. And you can DMX that moving head, and you can make that Gobo spin, which you could do on a data projector as well, but you could also make it move around the room and float around the room. Maybe there's a situation where and I've had this before, during the dinner, they want the Gobo on this empty dance floor. And then once dancing starts, they want the gobo on a wall.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how cool would it be if you could DMX program this just to go from the floor to the wall when it needs to go there, or just make it move around the room like an effect light? That's a really cool way to go. So you can do that with moving heads. And even things like the Pocket Pro, not the Pocket Spot, but the Pocket Pro, you can do gobos in that thing. It has the ability to do interchangeable gobos. Once again, only on the Pocket Pro, not on the Pocket Spot. And it's a very affordable way to step into a moving head that has interchangeable gobos. I think they map at $299.
Yeah, they're very, very inexpensive and on a really, really nice slide. The more I used them, the more I was like, gosh, these are pretty nice.
Yeah, really. Yeah, they're cool. They're a cool little light. So I don't know. I just wanted to expand on that a little bit. I'm a little rusty today.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It takes me a minute to get the wheels for it.
Yeah, my suggestion would kind of mirror Brian's as far as I think the projector is the way to start with it. But once you get to a point where you need to have a super bright gobo in a specific situation, I would start with the projector because that's going to be able to do 90% or 95% of your needs. There's going to be that one or two needs that's going to happen down the road most likely when a projector just won't cut it, or you're going to have to go get a 10,000 lumen projector to make it happen. And then you end up renting if you need to go that route, or you can go and get yourself that big gobo projector that can shoot across a large auditorium and give you the gobo whatever size you need on the other side, where a projector just could not do that type of throw without a $2,000 or $3,000 lens added to a $5,000 to $10,000 projector. So I think for a beginning, that's your best route to go.
80J's Icon LED is actually a pretty nice entry-level gobo projector. It's compact and it's pretty bright, and you can zoom the gobo and focus it pretty easily. And also there's barn doors on there if you need to, kind of get rid of some light here and there if you're doing spots. And there is a gel lens that it goes right in front of it. Mm-hmm. So if you want to get like yellow or red or orange gels and give your gobo some color, you could easily and affordably do that with something like the Icon Profile gobo projector.
Yeah, and that in that particular case, you're actually less expensive than a projector, a video projector.
Yes,
that was.
Although you are investing in the gobos themselves, but you may have an investment with Jimmy doing graphics for you too. So
for sure,
kind of a horse piece, I guess.
Yeah. So you have to weigh it out. Blake was asking, mentioning that a Bose F1 system, which for those of you who aren't familiar with that, the F1 system is where it is the 12-inch two-way top and the sub below it with the two bars and such. Impressed with the weight and sound quality. They definitely would run together and run with the proper processing all tuned in. They are a nice sounding system. Question is, do you think it was ugly?
Is that the one Shani runs?
Yeah. Shani has that. It has that at the shows. She does.
I don't own one. Excuse me. Yeah, I got to blow my nose.
Yeah.
Take this for a second.
Yep. So my thought on this one is I don't think they're as ugly as some speaker systems out there. We've run into some that have come in here, and it's like I can't say anything really that good about them. So they've gone on their way. I think that it's a fairly unique look. I think it's a professional enough unique look that it's worth thinking about. The biggest thing though it still has for it, I think, is that it has the Bose name, and people see the Bose name and they're attributing it a level of professionalism and sound quality to the Bose name. They sound good. Can I get that same level of sound with less expensive speakers from different companies? Yes, you can. You're paying for the name as you are with some of the other things. Probably the two biggest reasons I would recommend Bose is, first off, because of the name Bose. There's people who are like, oh my gosh, my high-end car has Bose. That's a good thing. You must be good like my car. Name carries weight in our world. Second thing is that Bose is one of these companies that when you buy their stuff, they will take care of you down the road. And it's one of these things that there's weird things that happen. And if you get a hold of the right person, it can be 10 years later, and they have been known to do things with replacing speakers. Not for everybody, not in every situation, but
Right.
they do unusual things when it comes to taking care of their customers. So
Bose isn't going anywhere.
and it's
Bose is going to be here for a long time.
yeah. So
But on the other hand, so is Electro Voice.
yep,
know,
yep, yeah, precisely. There's
Going anywhere.
we're different price points in what we're buying too. Electro Voice gears, a similar sound system is going to be probably half the price. Not that it's half the sound output, not that it's half the quality. It's just people know Bose. And
Bose is pretty proud of their stuff. Mm-hmm. And my observation with Bose is when I go to like a trade show, they're almost like Mac users. Like, I know some people casually use Mac, but there are people who are just Mac holes about it. And Bose users can be like that. They're just there's a cult following for Bose stuff, and yeah, I mean, good on them. Mm-hmm. There are DJs who just swear by this stuff. They are unswayable. It's Bose or nothing, and I've never seen another brand quite like that.
Yeah,
in the sound industry that I could think of.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you would have to go into like the audiophile thing with like Macintosh stereos to get anything even close to what DJs and Bose users are all about.
Yeah. So I've had this conversation that, Bose is like the fanboys of Bose are huge fanboys. Fanboys of Apple are huge fanboys. Cars. In the cars world, which fanboys are that way? Harley. I was with the Harley boys, Harley people, basically.
Harley guys.
Yeah,
I mean, Harley's the only American motorcycle.
Yeah.
That but yeah, it's like Ford or Chevy. I mean, you're either a Ford guy or you're a Chevy guy. I'm not. I'm like bisexual that way. I guess I like them both, and I like Mopar. I don't care. Trisexual. I got a Ford shirt on today. I've got 2 Chevys in the driveway. I've got another one in storage, and I have 2 Fords. So figure me out. My daughter drives a Mopar. I bought that for her.
You're all over.
I like them all.
You're all over the.
I like them all. I'm not a purist. I've got a brother-in-law who lives. They had a beautiful home out in Phoenix. My sister and him. They just built it. It's just breathtaking, like a resort. And after Mobile Beat, I rented a Mustang and I drove it to his house. And first thing he said when he saw me is, "You can't get that car in my driveway. I can't have a Ford in my driveway." And he's the Chevy guy like that.
Yeah.
Like he wants nothing to. He doesn't want a Ford in his driveway. When is that car leaving? I don't need that car in my driveway. Some people are just crazy about that stuff, man. I'm not that guy. I like them all.
That's funny.
So I mean, whoever makes something, and I worked at a Dodge dealership, and our manager was the first car guy I ever met who really did embrace it all. Like Jay Leno's like that. Jay Leno likes it all, but this guy did. I mean, he liked Volkswagen. He liked Toyota stuff or anything. He would say, "Oh, that's a good car," and he would have positive things to say about nearly any car.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like that with this equipment sometimes too. There's some stuff that I just feel like, maybe we should just avoid that completely. But when you get to a certain level of quality, yeah, I mean, whatever. It's all good. It's just a matter of what direction you want to go. What's the best value? That's kind of something that you work out on your own over time. John has, but yeah, there are fanboys. I'm sorry, I went off on a thing.
Yeah, no, that's, and I think the best value when it comes to this kind of stuff is really, maybe as I'm getting older, but it's the thing that makes me feel the best or the happiest with my purchase, which sometimes means I'm spending a little bit more, and I feel that that's the best value. And there's sometimes I'm spending less, and I feel that's the best value. But it's the decision that after the fact, I'm not going to lament that I should have done. Yeah. And that's probably more important to me now. I just don't want to have that second guess. I should have done this. Hey,
Well,
Jimmy's,
you know, we went. This is just goofy. I went microwave shopping today,
Mhm.
and well, we've had a. Let me tell you the whole story. We had a microwave that it's got the plastic keypad on it where it looks like it's flat and magical, but you actually have to press where the one is and hit the button behind it or the sensor behind it to
Yeah.
get the one to happen.
Yeah.
It's been giving us issues for years because it's over the stove and the steam hits that keypad and screws it all up. And I mean, we up there just beating on that keypad to get it to start for a couple of years. It completely died around the time my father passed away.
Oh, wow.
And we had this Panasonic downstairs, this microwave that we were using when we put the over range unit in. We were just trying to save counter space, you know. So I put that in. And I'm just not into that this summer. I'm not thinking about microwaves. I've got other things on my mind. So I just blocked it out of my mind. Well, I go up there. I go and get a haircut yesterday. Short hair. I come home and Blanca's got a Phillips screwdriver trying to disassemble this microwave.
Oh, boy.
Like, oh, crap. It's something I neglected to do. Can't get parts for it anymore. It's like an 8-year-old unit. So we went to the store, and the guy's like, it was one of these liquidator places, Scratch and Dent.
Mm-hmm.
The guy saved some money. It's like, what do you need? I'm like, I need a microwave. He's like, what kind? A stainless one. Well, what? I'm like, I don't know, dude. My handles kind of go like this. I don't know anything about microwaves.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about microwaves? Like, not really. I said, okay. Well, give me one with a handle that does this. So he found one. And we brought it home. And we're ready to install it today. And come to find out that it fell off the back of a truck. So the whole back of the thing was caved in. So I had to return it. And they didn't have anything else there for me at all. They just, it's like, our microwaves are all junk right now. So we have nothing for you. So I had to go microwave shopping. And at first, I'm looking for another silver microwave with a handle like this.
Mm-hmm.
But the longer I'm looking, the more I'm finding out about microwaves. And I'm finding out these little touch sensor microwaves where it's like a piece of glass and you see the numbers on them and you just put your finger on there and it senses your finger. Like your phone, you know, it's touch sensitive.
Sure, okay.
It's nothing you have to physically push, no buttons. I'm learning about other features too. So I went from I need a stainless microwave to I need a touch sensor microwave. And I need this feature, I need that feature. Just with educating myself a little bit on this. And that's how it's worked out with most everything DJ that I have. Because at first, I needed set speakers, I needed an amplifier, I needed a mixing board, I needed a light. But the more you get involved with it, the more problems you have with things, or the more you learn about them and educate yourself on these things, you make wiser purchasing decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had to order a microwave because nobody has one in inventory, and that's just another show altogether. But point being is, I have what I want now. I have what's going to last me too. What I'm buying is going to be something I'm going to have to replace in 3 or 4 years. It's going to be around for a while.
Right.
And I don't want to reinstall a microwave every 2 or 3 years. So
It's not a fun job. Not a fun job
Boy.
at all.
got some sinus things today. But no,
Yeah.
that's what this gear. That's what's your speakers and your brands and your features and all these things. And if you want to save time, and I do this with a lot of things. I do it with the car. I'm putting together this car. I do the same thing with that. I find the opinion leaders who I trust, and I ask them, what should I do? They've already done the research. They already know the stuff inside and out, and they tell me, get this, this, and this, and you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I think I would approach DJ equipment as well if I didn't know what I knew about some of this stuff. I'd find my opinion leaders. There's plenty of information out there. Yeah, everybody's going to have an opinion. Not everybody likes Ford. Not everybody likes Chevy. You're going to have your fanboys like we talked about before. But for the most part, find somebody you trust, listen to them, and they're going to point you in the right direction. Rant over. Sorry.
Boom. Okay, so we got a question about talking DMX, which of course CF Karaoke there mentions. Do we want to use software for DMX or control for DMX? I'm going to actually revert back to this question was asked last week of Ben Stowe. And it is a little bit different. Someone had asked about getting started with DMX, which controller the person would use, the slides and such. And Ben had mentioned that software is the way to go because the software programs are the easiest to use. And the learning curve they're the most intuitive compared to, I've got a board with a bunch of sliders. What does that mean? What does this do? The software was the way to go. There's different software abilities. I mean, I've been using the iPad to do some controlling. Brian's been programming with the iPad a little bit and doing some things with the ADJ Airstream bridge, the DMX bridge. Nice solution. There's a learning curve to that. You can get into the software. There's different software, different dongles for controlling that. You can get the software through ADJ, Chauvet. Many of them have it. I guess the biggest thing I would do is look at software. If Ben is going to recommend that, that's the best way to go. Ben deals with this stuff every day, and he's dealing with people at different levels and such. And if he's saying software and recommending going laptop software, that's probably where I would definitely kind of lean towards. Okay.
And then the question is, do you really want DMX?
There is that, and that's.
Or do you just want to control your lights, or do you really want DMX? Because now we're actually starting to see real viable options that, although the lights are DMX compatible, the control options go beyond DMX, like RC remote controls that do things that let your lights do things that are simple enough that for a mobile DJ, but you don't have to use this binary code that was really created for stage and theater about it. So
yeah, and I think like companies like Owens,
Ape Labs.
A prime example of a remote control that will work over a whole room with that capability to control those lights. And now I can make those chase with a remote control. And they will it isn't like the old days where I have to point at. I mean, that is a cool thing. Our friends at Chauvet, they've got their Bluetooth lights, and I think you're going to see more in January, getting back to a question that Robin asked earlier. We're going to see more in January at NAMM. And that's Bluetooth control. That's all run from my phone or my tablet. You're going to see those things coming along. So I guess I didn't even throw that question in there, Brian, but you make a great point, is that if you haven't bought the lights already, there are a lot of potential solutions here you're going to see now and in the next few months that might really change that whole discussion.
Yeah. It's just... And I get it. I mean, I'm doing it with the car all the time. I'll pop up and say, hey, what kind of electric fan should I buy for this radiator setup in this engine? And they're like, you sure you want an electric fan? Why don't you just get a shroud? That works just fine. Really? Okay, I'll do that. So, yeah, let's go back. What are you trying to achieve? And let's see if we can make this happen for you as painlessly as possible. So that's why I asked the question, are you sure you even want to do DMX?
Yeah, that was a good angle. I wanted to share an observation from 2018, as long as we're
yes.
And you guys have heard me talk about this on different shows and such, is I think 2018 was the year that I think music services as we know them have it's signifying the year that the music services, the beginning of the end of music services, I think is in the works, because there are things that are happening within the music industry. And I know we've talked about a year ago, we were talking a year and a half ago, that streaming is eventually going to take over, and people were poo-pooing that. We've got a change coming where streaming is going to become something, whatever that may be. But what we've seen in 2018 is how the labels are handling the music services, and how the music services now can either choose to play ball and play legitimately, and spend the money that they need to spend to stay in business, or they can go and they can do this some other way that may or may not be legally illegal, but they can do things and no one's policing them right now. So some of the companies over here, there were 2 new ones launched last week. By the way, if you guys haven't, if you don't, you might have gotten emails, but there were 2 new pools, DJ pools, that launched December. I think December was 5th or 6th is when they launched. That have already got hundreds of subscribers because they're coming in, and it looks just exactly like one of the other websites, and it's giving you the same type of offers, and people are jumping all over it. Oh, they have a some of these companies are going to what we used to talk about as litmus tests. Do they have a physical address? Can you contact them online? Do they have this? Some of these companies now are doing some of this stuff, and it's interesting if you start researching, you find out that they aren't legit, but no one's policing it right now. No one's getting in trouble, and that's going to make things change. So what that means for 2019, you're going to see, we just announced the promo only, the prime cuts and promo only coming together. Jim Weiss is over at promo only now, and they're going to be developing a product similar to prime cuts that'll be launching here at the beginning of the year. You're going to see small things like that are going to happen here for the next year as they evolve. But the question really becomes is how long can a promo only or an ERG or a Top Hits USA, how long can they survive in this new world that we're in with music? I can't say for surely that they will be able to stay in business for 5 years. Maybe they can. Maybe things will change, and they will be in this. They're hoping that they will be, because they're playing ball properly with the labels. They're hoping that they can say, "Oh, you're busting them and them and them, but we played ball all along, so now we're the only kids on the block." What happens? We don't know. So, but that was one of my big observations.
Well, it's like we were talking about with the lights. I mean, the mobile DJ market is niche, but if you are offering services beyond mobile DJ, which these companies are, they're doing broadcast and other things, then they're going to be more competitive, and they're going to be able to do things easier than just providing this mobile DJ thing. And I would say just the good news, if everything went away tomorrow, it would be terrible for our friends and who have been providing these services for us. But if it did go away tomorrow, I would freak out, because there's nothing new anybody wants to hear anyway. I mean, and I'm serious. I mean, unless I was a school dance DJ, I wouldn't care, because I could just cherry pick this stuff pretty easy off of Amazon or iTunes or whatever, opposed to having the service, which I love, and I get a lot of things on those services that you wouldn't think to get your hands on that are fun to have, especially a lot of the dance stuff and the smooth jazz stuff. But yeah, if we were in this like renaissance of pop music right now, where all this stuff was great and you couldn't wait to turn on the radio because you might hear a new song, and the new song is always better than the last song, and that'd be one thing. We're not in those days right now.
No, so. Not so much. CF karaoke. Right. If you don't have the record pool and you don't have internet, how can you stream new music? I think one of the things that we continue to come back to is what if I don't have internet here, I don't have internet there. I really think in 5 years, that's going to be kind of like having electricity. What if we don't have electricity in that town? I don't think this is going to be a discussion. Is that they're going to have the whether it's cell phone internet or what have you, it's going to be like electricity. There's outlets everywhere. And I can generally, no matter where I go, I can find electricity to do what I need to do. And there might be some situations where I have to bring a generator, i.e. today. That means that there might be some few spots that, okay, I'm out in the middle of an island in northern Minnesota and there's no internet access at all. It could happen. And in those situations, you're going to have to bring a generator.
Oh, it will happen. It will happen.
It's going to,
no doubt.
There will be some.
Utilities fail. They just do. There's a reason that we have battery-powered speakers.
Yeah.
Because there's no power available. And sometimes you think there's power available and there's not. Or alternately, you're doing a party and the power goes out. You got a battery powered option. So I think the infrastructure, it's getting worse, not better. In the United States, our infrastructure is crumbling opposed to being built up. And yeah, I mean, in my lifetime, and maybe I'm not being a very good futurist here, but in my lifetime, I don't see any of this infrastructure being stable enough to bet my paycheck on it.
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
I just don't. Power, streaming, internet, nothing. So if I have something self-contained that I could use on the damn moon if I wanted to,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to be better off and have a really good, solid guarantee that I'm going to be able to pull a job off than if I was relying on any utility, including electricity. I don't know. That's where I'm at.
And I think, getting kind of tying it back to the streaming side of it is that, as Brian said, that it's going to happen no matter what. Even if the internet is on every corner of every street in the world, you're going to have that times when there isn't, and yet you still need to be able to perform. And I think a lot of our streaming services now already have it where I can download. Okay, I pay so much a month, and I can download, and I have access to those songs as long as I log in once a month to keep my license active. I have those songs on my computer and they're accessible to me. If I don't log in, I don't have access to them. I think things like that is what you're going to see. Hunter asked a question about DJ Pro 2. The software has Spotify incorporated into it. On my tablet, my iPad, this is actually, I did a full event basically using Spotify in a school situation where I was using Spotify and the iPad. It says, of course, that using Spotify is illegal. Well, using most of the music that we bought on CD, it says not for public performance. A lot of the argument could be made that almost every song we have is illegal, short of what we've gotten from a record pool like Promo Only or Prime Cuts or Top Hits USA, where they have, with the labels, done the promotional. Okay, this is going out to DJs. Da da da. All of those things are in essence illegal. The real question is, will anyone ever bust you for playing off Spotify at a show? Yeah, no. It's probably not going to happen. Algorithm with their Pro DJ, the way they use Spotify is really kind of cool because you can mix from one song to the next song. So you can have 2 tracks from Spotify going, which is not the way Virtual had it when they had Spotify for about 10 seconds. At one time I would have said, you got to be worried about the legal side of it because they might bust you. Well, I've been saying that for 5, 6, 7 years, and I'm getting tired of saying it. So now it's to the point it was like, until they're going to bust somebody, pay your money so you're paying so that the artists are getting some money from it. Whether you're buying a Spotify subscription, or you're buying an Apple subscription, or you're buying your music anywhere, make sure you're buying it, not stealing it. But after that, use what you've got to use, and use what you're the best, what works the best for you. And again, as Jay mentioned in the chat room, buy your music and that supports the artist. That means that some of these bootleg companies I would not buy my music from because none of the money that you spend with them goes to support the artist. All it does is go to make their companies, their bottom line of the few owners makes that grow. And then the day that they do get busted, company's gone.
It's crazy. I mean, when you look at how things have devolved in the last 20 years or so, starting with Napster, which at first was like, it's like, you're kidding me. I can have anything I want.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is great. Oh, wait a minute. Nobody's getting paid. Okay. So that goes away. And then we have iTunes, which is you're no longer buying the CD. You're buying the download. And you're buying the single, not the album. So the percentage that the artist is getting paid is less because we're no longer selling a hard media for this, physical media for this. And on top of that, you have things going on like Kiss FM and iHeartRadio with this consolidation of radio stations, where there's no longer regional things happening. It's all just, everything's international. And it's whatever corporate decides is going to be played. The same stuff's going to be played in Kansas City that's going to be played in New York City, kind of thing. And some company in Waco, Texas, is deciding this. all of this may have looked like progress to somebody, but now look at the state of music and you tell me, was this progressive?
Mm-hmm.
This was degressive. This was incredibly degressive for everybody. And we're suffering for it now. Every time that we hammer another nail in that casket where we're not supporting the artists, it's going to get worse.
Yeah.
If you can imagine it being worse, yeah, it's going to get worse. Can you imagine 4 talented musicians like the Beatles today saying, "Hey, let's record music"? No, let's not record music. Let's go to college because we're going to make more money doing that than we are starving to death. Unless we can get gigs touring or something, we make our money there. It's just it's a struggle now. It's like never before for artists, and they're suffering for it. Financially, to the point where it's not even feasible to do it anymore.
Very much so. And I think that was one of the things that Nick mentioned when he and I talked the other day, is that Britt is one of those artists, the creating and making music, and how she's compensated and such for what she has done is, in I think paraphrasing Nick, is laughable. It's just not there.
Yeah, I think it was like $4,000 she got for that #1 dance hit.
Yeah, it was something.
We talked one time. It was not a lot.
Yeah,
it was peanuts.
Yeah, for all the time, effort, and everything, and it's like, okay, that's over. She might have been better if she had put it on YouTube, and just if it could have gone viral.
Monetized it. Yeah,
monetized it.
Sure would have been.
You mentioned, of course, the radio stations and how they have become this national, where it used to be that there was, and we've talked in the past too about how radio stations used to be a regional flavor, and now they're all the same. Funny example of this is I'm headed up to Saturday up to Bemidji to do our cookie show with Ben Still. So I've got 3 hours on the road and 3 hours back. So yeah. I'm popping through radio stations. I was thinking about streaming, but I decided not to. I'm just like, I'm going to hear what figuring, because at one time when I used to do this back in the late 90s, it was like public radio in the beginning of the dial, and then it was like country, oldies, country, rock and roll, oldies. That was basically the whole overview of the dial. Right. So as I'm going along, I'm surprised at the number of, because the car shows what their format is in the right corner in the data there, and it's an adult contemporary type station, or it's adult hits. Adult hits was what popped up a lot, and I'm listening, and it's like, oh yeah, there's a couple of good songs, and then I hear, and again I'm in northern Minnesota, I hear a Lowe's commercial followed up by a Home Depot commercial. Okay, not a big deal. The nearest Home Depot is 2+ hours away from where I was hearing this. The nearest Lowe's is close to 5 hours away. Okay, no big deal. So I'm continuing up the road. I lose that station, so I grab another station. This one's even farther north. What do I hear in the same adult mix? Then I hear a Lowe's commercial followed by a Home Depot commercial. Well, now I'm another hour. It's like this happened like 3 or 4 different stations on the way up, and then when I'm on my way home, it happens 2 more times at more stations that are up, and they're different numbered stations or different. They're all playing the same songs, the same adult hits, and obviously they're being fed the same commercials. So I would go as far as to say all of those stations must have been tied in at a national level, and are probably just having the streams coming out differently because you're hearing the same commercials, none of which are local.
If Jay Brennan, for instance, who never watches the show.
No, never watches the show.
If Jay became president, if he won in 2020, he just ran because, and he won, and he decided to appoint me the new head of the FCC, this is what I would do. I would push for national radio, much like England has with BBC, Radio 1, Radio 2, Radio 3. I would do that. Are you familiar with Radio 1?
Oh, I've heard of. I've not listened to, but I know that they exist.
It's like Radio 1 is like top 40 music. Radio 2 is like top 40 music for people our age. Radio 3 is top 40 music for people maybe 10 years older than us. Radio 4 is top 40 music for people who are dead, if that makes sense to you. So what I thought would be great is to do See, like Kiss FM's almost doing Radio 1.
Mm-hmm.
In the United, or iHeartRadio is almost doing Radio 1 in the US. But they're not doing it right. What I like about Radio 1 is, and they play I feel like some really good music. I enjoy listening to Radio 1. I haven't listened in a while, but I used to listen a lot. I heard some fantastic music on there that we weren't getting here, or we were only getting here on dance charts or something.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people in the UK, because it's a national radio station, you can get it anywhere. Perfect reception anywhere in the United Kingdom. The complaint is, well, Radio 1 isn't as good as Chilton FM or some of these other commercial stations. And I'm like, it's not supposed to be, and it doesn't have to be. But what Radio 1 does is sets the bar that you at least have to be better than Radio 1 to be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
If you're worse than Radio 1, you're going to fail as a commercial station. So you at least have to be better than Radio 1 to succeed. That's what America needs for radio. And it would also help with content. It would definitely help with the music that's being played on these radio stations. Because the commercial stations would be forced to play things that they weren't particularly getting some kind of monetary gain from the record label. They would just be playing songs that the audiences wanted to hear. Because if they didn't, the audiences would tune back to the national radio station and get something better than what they provided for them. That would be like the biggest kick. Yeah, Lola's Theme all the time, absolutely. And Lola's Theme, Jay's favorite track, was played on Radio 1 when it came out, like a lot. It was played every hour on the hour on Radio 1 for a while. So when I first heard it, was on BBC Radio 1. And that's a band from, I think, DC, Washington, D.C., but it was a hit over there because somebody at Radio 1 thought it was cool and they played it.
And it took off.
Anyway, that's what I would do if somebody asked me what we should do. That's what I would do.
Holy cats, our time is up.
Done. And this is like an episode of Seinfeld. It was a show about nothing.
It is our Seinfeld episode tonight. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So for those of you who retouch back with the Ben Stowe thing, tonight's show for Ben Stowe's show was a cookie baking show. 12 and a half minutes. It was edited down. It was about 6 hours of footage that we did on Saturday. And it's kind of a cool thing because you're going to get to meet Ben's daughter and Ben's son. And they were helping Ben and I do some cookie baking on Saturday and such. And there's one cool little moment I wanted to make sure I had in the video, Brian, you might have to pop in there, is where Grace and Ben are making Rice Krispie bars, and the two of them are working together. And it was just really kind of a neat dad-daughter moment there to watch those two work together. And of course, Jordan and I were working together, and Jordan's just kind of he's a goofy kid. Very smart young man, witty young man, but he was just fun to hang out with. I enjoyed my time with the Stowe family on Saturday. And if you guys haven't gotten to check that out, go check it out. It's 12 and a half minutes. It's worth watching just to get see Ben and his family, Ben doing something other than
being Ben.
Being Ben, yes.
As you know Ben.
Although when you're the Wookiee gingerbread cookies, yes.
Ben.
There was a lot of things, but yeah, it was a fun day.
Ben unplugged.
It was and as we were talking in the video, we made mention of it is one of the things that Ben and I want to do is we want to put together a DJ outdoor trip, going to like a state park in northern Minnesota where there's going to be ability for people who want to camp, if you want to do that, or the place has cabins that are heated and air conditioned for people who don't want to camp. And that way we can all get together and have the big campfire and hang out and talk shop, talk smart, talk family, whatever we want to do. But
I need a tour bus and the satellite dish.
And there's that.
I'm not campy at all. Yeah. I'm campy, but not like that.
Well, that's one thing I like about Itasca State Park, at headwaters of the Mississippi, is that you've got your tent camping, you've got some more rustic cabins that you can rent, and then they have suites. Like really nice hotel suites.
Sheridan, yeah.
Yeah, they've got it all there, and you can do everything.
Ritz-Carlton.
Jay, Cali, please. And we go to Cali for NAM. That's when we come to Jay's backyard, and we call that our camping trip in Cali when we go to NAM.
Yeah, NAM is definitely like camping.
Yeah, it's
definitely like camping.
You just like camping where you got to go and try to figure out, okay, do we go to Bubba Gump's for supper or do we go to Steak and...
Yeah, you got to be in a room with 8 other guys who are snoring, and yeah, it's
yeah, there are times where it would probably be a lot quieter to sleep outside where
you feel like you have to get up at the crack of dawn and get to the showers before all the hot water's gone. It's just like camping, dude.
Just like camping.
It is exactly like it's urban camping.
Yes.
It's terrible.
And there's a lot of wildlife out
Everybody's
there.
tired and dirty and
Smell fun.
I lost my pants. Oh God, damn.
Yeah, it's a tough
It's coming up.
Well, Brian, thank you very much for your time tonight. It was a good chat. Thank you guys for being with us. We will be back again in about three weeks from tonight, which would be that first, not the very first of January, but the first Tuesday after.
Talk about my New Year's gig.
And then we'll be talking New Year's gig, and we've got by then we're going to have some of the release information from NAMM that we can talk about. Because I know about 5 different products that are going to be released at NAMM. I know 2 different products that are going to be released after NAMM, which is a bummer because those would really be great to talk about before NAMM, but those will be coming out later in 2019. But we'll have some teasers for you on our next show, gang. Have yourself a wonderful Christmas time here. Spend some time with family and friends, and we'll catch you in a couple of weeks. Good night, everyone.
Good night.